Thank you all for joining StraightUp Solar this afternoon to learn the basics about solar batteries. For our format today, you'll be hearing from a few of our solar experts. I'll be providing some helpful links in the chat section as we move through the webinar. So feel free to add any of your questions there as we go along. You should see a chat button. I believe it's in the footer of your menu on your screen, and that'll open a window where you can type your questions at the bottom, and then you can view the chat above that. So we do actually have a lot of topics to cover, which is why we're starting promptly. To keep us on track, we've reserved some time at the very end for a Q&A session. We're going to try to get everyone's questions answered, but if we run out of time, we'll follow up with you after the webinar to answer anything. And I also did want to mention to please make sure your microphone is muted so we don't get any background noise or distractions during the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. So I wanted to start with our broad vision. StraightUp Solar is made up of a team that cares greatly about people and sustainability on our shared planet. We've built our business on these core values, and one of the ways we accomplish this is by being a certified B Corp. Well, what is a certified B Corp? In 2015, StraightUp Solar first became certified as a benefit corporation, or B Corp for short. We are held accountable for 3 Ps: people, planet, and profit. You'll notice that profit is placed after people and planet on purpose. We believe in using business as a force for good. So who is StraightUp Solar? We are Illinois and Missouri's most experienced turnkey solar energy design and installation firm with over 1,300 installations since 2006. We help homeowners and businesses reduce electricity costs, gain energy independence, and secure a powerful return on investment. And here we practice clear values, which means we put community first. We try to lead the solar tribe by educating, advocating solar policy, respecting each other and the environment, and striving for excellence in all that we do. Now let's meet your presenters. My name is Nicole Cooper, and I'm a marketing coordinator. With me here is David Downs, our director of sales, and he's going to be guiding us through all the ins and outs of batteries. In addition, we actually have 3 solar experts. Aaron Bugg and Greg Talley are solar project developers, and Adam Kina is our lead field project coordinator. They're standing by to answer your questions during the Q&A at the end of the presentation. So today we'll actually be walking through the whys and hows of solar batteries, and then we're going to focus in on Tesla Powerwall as a special feature. All right, here I'm going to hand it over to David. David, are you ready to go?
Thank you, Nicole. I am. So let's start with this. Why invest in a battery? There are really 3 main benefits to a battery, and we're going to get into those. But first, we want to make sure everybody understands we're talking about batteries are always paired with a solar array in order to get the federal tax credit. That's the 26% tax credit that you can get when you install a battery, but it's got to be installed with a solar array to get that benefit. So now that we're past that assumption, the main benefits of a battery are, number 1, of course, that you can extend your solar power into the evening because your system is active every day. So if you're making power during the day, a portion of that power goes to power your house, and another portion goes to power your battery. So again, that will happen every day the sun is shining, and you'll experience that benefit every day. Number 2, the second big benefit of a battery is you get backup protection. So that is just the example of when the grid goes down for whatever reason. Could be a short out for an hour, could be a transformer blows, you're out for many hours, or a prolonged grid outage when the whole grid is down for multiple days. The last time that happened in this market, excuse me, was we had a huge ice storm many years ago. It knocked the grid out for multiple days. So in the case of having a battery paired with your solar array, you would have backup power even in that prolonged outage scenario. Third big battery benefit is Tesla offers what they call storm mode. So if a storm comes and knocks out the grid for, again, a multi-day outage, the battery can receive a notification from the weather service. Make sure that that battery is fully charged, just so you're fully ready for a storm. So those are the three main benefits. Now let's look at those in a little more detail. So that first big benefit, that self-consumption, we've got some text on the screen there you can read. It's really just this idea that instead of net metering power back to your utility, you can self-consume that power in the evening. So when you pair a battery with solar PV, it helps you maximize the value of the power you create by using that self-consumption strategy. Second, battery backup. There again, where we talk about the idea of if the grid goes down, with a battery connected to your solar array, you can get power during that outage, or backup power. So a 13.5 kilowatt battery, that's what the Teslas are, will provide several hours or many hours depending on your energy usage. And we'll look at that in more detail in the presentation. And then finally, the storm mode. Again, Tesla, the Powerwall, will get that notification via the internet from either the National Weather Service or NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. When it gets that internet warning that the severe weather alert is coming, it can prioritize that the battery gets charged to 100%. So your battery is fully charged. If that weather event comes and knocks out the grid, you'll be completely ready with a maximum charge battery in that instance. So here again, a little more detail about that backup power during an outage. So during a grid outage, the battery allows the solar inverter to operate when the sun is shining. So that's different than having a solar array alone, because today, I think most people know, your inverter will shut down during a grid outage. And that's really per the National Electric Code. We don't want solar inverters to be backfeeding power into the grid and making the lines hot, which would be a problem for the linemen. So, but what happens is when you install a Tesla Powerwall, you get it's called a gateway, and it can help protect that power from being backfed out to the grid, but still allowing your solar inverter to operate even during an outage. So you get the power of renewable power during the day and the backup power in the evening. Now, the other nice thing about the way these battery backups work is that it's a seamless transition. It happens in milliseconds. So in that case of the battery kicking on to power your house, you won't even have to reset your clocks. And then finally, there's a mobile app that provides management and good visualization of what your power consumption is doing. And we'll see a good example of that later in the presentation here. So how does a battery work with solar? Let's look into that. Here's some good examples. With a solar plus battery solution installed in your home, the excess energy from the sun fills up your battery for nighttime use. So the photo in the upper right, that's a photo from a net zero home installation we did by the new NGA site in North City in St. Louis. So these homes were built with an energy efficient construction using SIP panels, or structural in place panels, and they're flat roofs. So we put solar on the top. We put the LG Chem battery in there, and that's the photo at the lower left. That's the LG Chem battery hanging on the wall with in gray with the black stripe across the top. And these houses are effectively net zero energy homes. So when you tie the battery to your solar, again, there's the bullet point. Now you're using the sun's energy for most of the day, reducing the total amount of energy pulled from the grid and charged by your utility. So here's a great graphic to illustrate this. Most folks who have solar are very familiar with that image on the left. That's solar only. That's what your house does with solar today, except that that power during that peak section at noon, everything that's above your consumption, which is the gray sort of wavy line across the bottom, you normally net meter that power or export that power. But when you pair it with a battery, and this is the graphic on the right, instead of net metering exporting that power, now you store that power in your battery and you use it into the evening. Now that could be 2 hours, could be 3 or 4 hours, it could be all the way till 11 o'clock or midnight. It's going to depend on your home's individual usage. And again, we'll look at some more detail of that here in the rest of the presentation. What does an install look like? Well, let's take a look at one of our customers who installed with us. This is a customer in St. Charles County. And the most important thing to kick off this slide, as you can see on the left there, installing a Tesla Powerwall is not a plug and play system. Every house has a different electrical setup, which affects the design and installation of your system. So I want to be really clear about that. This is not like other batteries that you interact with your life where you just clip 2 cables onto them or plug it into a tool. It's just not simply a plug and play system. So what we have to do is, in this case, for Mr. Dultz, that's Adam on the left side who helped install the system. We had to replace his entire main electric panel on the left. It's all very neat and tidy. Then we installed the gateway, his essential loads box, and that trough across the bottom helps basically tie all the wiring above and below the system. So we just have to understand that, again, it's not a plug and play system. Every home is a little different, but in this, which was a relatively easy install, you can see we're in his basement. This system is around a $15,000 install, because I know everybody's looking at, well, what does this cost? Well, here's an example of a installation that's close to us, relatively simple. We have plenty of room in his basement to do that. And again, I think, Nicole, if you advance to the next slide, we'll see that it's a $15,000 Powerwall installation. Now that's separate from his solar, but that's the cost of a Powerwall installation. And if we go to the next slide, so here's some examples from Tesla of what it looks like to install a single Powerwall. The image on the right is a critical load only installation, and that's a single Powerwall install. So you can see we had to pull some, the idea there is you have to pull some of the loads. Working with you, the customer, will determine what are your essential loads. Is that the kitchen? Is that your HVAC equipment? Is it your internet router and Wi-Fi? Is it the TVs, bathroom lights, whatever? We'll figure out all those essential loads, put them in that panel, and then you can see the Tesla connects directly to it. You can see the little line there. So now you'll be able to power those essential loads, and your inverter for the solar is still behind that. So that's also going to be powered by the Powerwall. In the image on the right, on the left, that's a whole home backup system. And we can see that takes 2 times the Powerwalls. It takes 2 Powerwalls to do that installation. And again, the solar inverter is behind the main panel and the gateway device. That means all of those things can be powered by the Powerwall. So again, if you want to go whole home backup, that takes 2 Powerwalls to do that. Now, how do you choose a battery? Well, there's a couple choices. There you go. So is a battery right for you? Well, it is if you want to self-consume more of your solar energy. If you want to take control of your power. If you want a redundant backup, and we had a customer installed just for this reason. If you have a generator that fails to start, you can be assured the Powerwall battery is going to kick in again in milliseconds. And then finally, if you want to put the net metering, your utility's net metering policy on your side, because sometimes we see some utilities have net metering policies that we would consider are less favorable. So if you want to kind of tip the scales in your favor, installing a battery does that for you. Or if you don't want a noisy generator backup and you don't want to store the diesel or gasoline to power that generator on site at your home. There are a few different battery choices. We offer the LG Chem and the Enphase Ensemble battery, which is really just brand new. But the battery we've installed the most is the Tesla Powerwall, and that offers the most bang for your buck. We know that's what most people want, is the greatest bang for their buck in energy. So the Tesla Powerwall also offers the most outstanding technology and support. And again, we're going to see another example of that here in the presentation tonight. Video from Tesla. So I know that went by really quick. That was like 50 seconds for that video. But let's go through slide by slide to give you a little better update about what's happening minute to minute with a home with solar and a Tesla Powerwall. So in the morning, here's an example you can see. The grid is powering the home and the solar array is waking up and starting to make power. But then you'll notice at the bottom, the Powerwall is only 30% charged because it used most of its power the previous evening while it was powering the home. So here in the morning, we switch to the afternoon. Now you've got the solar power creating 5 kilowatts of energy, and a little bit of that power is going to power the home, 0.3 kilowatt hours, and the rest, 4.7, is going in to recharge the Powerwall. And you can see at the bottom there, it says 87% charged. Now at the nighttime, the solar has gone to sleep, the sun is down, but now the battery is up to 92% charge and it's powering the house with 2.5 kilowatts of power. But notice no power is coming from the grid. So that's what a Tesla Powerwall can do for your home. And let's talk about this for a second. So StraightUp Solar is a certified Tesla Powerwall installer. And what does that mean? Well, it's more than just a badge that we can put on our website. That means that Adam and his team traveled to Texas to train with Tesla for 2 days. Now, that means they're fully certified. They've seen all the nuances involved with a Powerwall installation. And now we can say that not only do you get a trained crew coming to your house to do this installation, but you also need to understand, I guess, that the idea is that not only do you get the crew, but every design we do for a Tesla Powerwall goes back to Tesla. Their team reviews and approves it. And now you can have great certainty in not only the design, but the installation that it's coming from a certified Tesla Powerwall installer. Now here's a link. We can give you a link to this website. This is Tesla's part of their website where you can kind of poke around and see how long will your Powerwall last in an outage? Because we know that's one of the main issues that people want to know. How long will it run? Well, at the top, you can create a model, whether there's 1, 2, or 3 Powerwalls, and you can turn on and off different items that you might have in your house that you'd want to run. Now, the biggest one, the biggest energy draw in your house is going to be your air conditioning. And we want to be real clear about this. When you turn your air conditioner on, you need your air conditioner to run. That, again, I think we talked about 2. That's a 2 Powerwall installation. So again, we'll give you a link to this so you can play around with this at your house and see kind of with your house, how would that work? Now, the last kind of another equipment option we wanted to show you real fast is the idea of this Lumin smart panel. And that Lumin smart panel, what it does is offers smart switching of your electric panel. Now, this is an entirely separate device beyond the battery, but we wanted to show this. We just started offering it this year. And this device is an additional option to give smart control and gives you the choice of, instead of having to install a critical loads panel, you get to decide. Maybe in the morning you want to prioritize and run your washer and dryer, but then in the evening you want your kitchen and prioritize your refrigerator. So here's an example of a large solar installation with three, those are SMA inverters up there. And then you can see in the photo, 3 Powerwalls, and that's a $36,000 Powerwall installation. Now again, that's for 3 full Powerwalls. And what that gives you is really a home with a large solar array installation like this and 3 Powerwalls. You really have almost total grid independence in an installation like this. Now, moving on, you have some payment options. So we partner with the Clean Energy Credit Union. And again, remember the Clean Energy Credit Union is partnered with StraightUp Solar, and we can offer a very unique, we think, best solar loan in the country, 12 years at 2.99%, and a single Powerwall. If you go that route, the payments range from $83 to $110 using that 12-year 2.99% loan from Clean Energy Credit Union. So a way to get started on your solar plus battery project. Step 1, you're gonna share some basic information about your home. Step 2, we create a custom plan for you, including the layout and proposal. And step 3, project guidance. We're gonna connect you with a project manager who will guide you through the whole process. Step 4, install and energize. And that's the best day when you install solar and a battery, is energizing your solar. And step 5. So quick option, our quick note here is that if you already have a solar array and you're interested in installing the battery, is that when we reach out to you, we need to get a copy of your electrical one line, and that will help us firm up your quote. Okay, and we want to finally let you know about the group buy options that are happening. These are great ways to buy both the solar and the battery. And we've got really 5 different programs. These 4 on the screen are all residential programs for homeowners. So you have the Grow Solar St. Louis program, the Grow Solar Metro East program. Down where Greg is at, that's the Solarized Southern Illinois. And then to the north in Illinois, we've got the Solarized Urbana-Champaign program. And then finally, in the St. Louis side, we've got a partnership with Renew Missouri for businesses.
All right. Thank you, David, for all the insights into pairing batteries up with solar. This concludes the presentation portion of Solar Battery Basics. We'll actually be starting our Q&A. So if you haven't already, go ahead and add your questions to the chat. If you are ready to start on your solar battery project, I've shared a link in the chat. So there's also a short link here provided if you're typing it in just on the screen. So if you have any specific questions, you can reach out to Greg or Aaron. Their contact info is on this slide too, or you can check us out at straightupsolar.com.